Hello guys, it's Mark here, Little Supplement Company, and I want to just tell you a little bit about the endurance game. Okay, a lot of people through the Corona lockdown have taken up running, biking, cycling, walking more, and doing generally more cardiovascular activity, particularly with all the gyms being closed down, which is brilliant for our health. Bad for the gyms, and don't get me wrong, I didn't mean it that way, but good that people are starting to take on an hour or 2 hours a day to get cardiovascularly fit. It's also good for the brain, it takes your mind off things, and it's nice to get out there in the fresh air. So a couple of messages I'm starting to get is more to do with cardiovascular activity than ever before. So I've started running. Mark, what would you recommend? You know, I'm hitting more cycling now. What would you recommend? I'm doing 10, 20, 30, 40 miles on my bike. What would you recommend for recovery, repair? So this isn't normally the most popular questions I get. It's usually about losing weight or getting ripped or getting stronger or getting bigger. So this is great because I do work with endurance athletes. You know, I've worked with some good ones over the years that have been incredible. So a good friend of mine, Carl Dobson, he's a local boy. He's an ex-military war hero in my eyes. And he's picked up a couple of gold cycling medals in the Invictus Games, and a true gent, humblest guy I'll ever meet, but so good at his sport. And you know, he's been a work in progress for him for the last probably 7 years plus to get to where he was number one. You know, I've worked with other people like Scott Hill, who's a brilliant Ironman. He does triathlons. He's a member of the armed forces again, and there was quite a lot of local guys who were doing, you know, your triathlons, when they were around, when they were allowed to be done. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips, my top tips on what to look for in terms of if you're getting into endurance or you're starting to spend a bit more time on the endurance side of things. First thing I would look at is a good quality multivitamin. Yeah, said it again, said it with everything. But one that's specific to your training. So endurance athletes tend to take a lot of wear and tear, and they tend to take a lot of oxygen in, which is causing free radical damage, okay? So what we want to do to protect free radical damage from the joints and repair the muscles quicker is antioxidants. So we want something that's going to be powerful in antioxidants. We want something that's going to boost the immune system and keep the immune system firing. And we want something that's maybe got a few anti-inflammatory herbs within there and some really cool, you know, super green blends and things like that. Beetroot juice is a good one because it'll actually increase recovery and it increases nutrient delivery, and it'll actually take away lactic acid really efficiently. Is there a multivitamin that does all that? There is indeed. And I think it's brilliant. It's the Terra Nova Sport Multi. And it does all of those things. So from a 2-a-day formula, that's 100 size. They do a 50 or 100 size. Brilliant if you're really pushing the cardiovascular side of it. Your recovery will be enhanced. Your energy levels will be enhanced. The power and the lack of fatigue will be noticeable after a while. So a really good quality, high antioxidant rich multivitamin would be my starting point. You can go straight to gels and powders and this, that and the other, and yeah, but there's your basics. That's going to be a fundamental. A good diet, and that would be brilliant. Next thing I'd add in would be, to my regular customers, it's going to be no surprise, a really good quality, high-end, high performance, high strength fish oil. Not cod liver oil, fish oil. Now this is Wiley's finest wild Alaskan sustainably sourced fish oil. It is banging, it's brilliant. So what does a fish oil do? Cardiovascular health, so heart health generally. Amazing for anti-inflammatory, so you know, for wear and tear and taking away those micro tears and inflammatory responses in the body. You know, with that, and you've got some really cool anti-inflammatories in there together, brilliant. Increased recovery, feeling less sore, muscle soreness is less, etc., etc. So those two things, I mean, cognitive function, it can go on and on and on, but we're talking about endurance. So those two things as a basic would be phenomenal in my eyes, absolutely phenomenal. Then we get into the endurance-y side itself. So you're actually in the saddle or you're on the run, and you know, we've got a few of my friends that are doing like, come from nothing a few years ago. And now they're kind of going and doing marathons and stuff on their time out. They're just getting out and doing the marathon, and they're smashing it, and it's brilliant. So what we want is ideally to keep hydrated, and that's just the key. Okay, so the best way to hydrate yourself is with an electrolytic kind of mix, a powder or a drink. But are they all the same? Well, no, some of them are just like sugary drinks, which would work. They get glycogen into your body. But we want some key players to be put back into the body. And we want a certain presentation of these electrolytes. So what we want is these electrolytes to be in an ionic form. So it's a certain electrical charge that these electrolytes have, which then allows them to work on a cellular level. I'm not going to get too technical, but an ionic charged electrolyte can make a massive difference. I've worked up in the past with some great athletes, and to all of the endurance-y based ones and things like the boxers, MMA fighters, you know, they've got a lot of endurance, they've got the power and everything else, as well as the runners, the cyclists, the swimmers. The endurance-based athletes, I would say if I could, when I've done that little program for them, I said, if I could increase your energy output by 25%, would that be good? And they're like, God, that'd be amazing. In fact, I'd write you an open check if you could do that. Increase your hydration. Make sure your body is hydrated. There's a couple of ways you can do that. And if you look at some of the studies that have been done on hydration, your body becomes 1% dehydrated, temperature rises, become more fatigued, muscle weariness and fatigue is activated, and you could lose up to 25% of your energy expenditure, your energy output, by being 1% dehydrated. So how do we do this? Well, there's a couple of ways. Carbohydrates are a great way of actually hydrating the body. So you're drinking water regularly, and then you're putting in the day some low GI carbs through the day. That will actually help hydrate you, believe it or not. So the carb loading before an event or a run, when we were doing events and things like that, or a cycle, would have been a great way for me, would be 3 days before, have quite a high carb day, then the next day half that, the next day half that, and you've loaded up with carbs beautifully. A lot of people for some reason do it the other way around, and then they wake up stodgy, and do it that way. So you're hydrating straight away, you're getting the carbs in, half it down, and you'll find what works for you. But there's some great products out there that would help as well. So you see people having these sports drinks and things like that. Awesome. This is a one I love to work with. There's two, but the first one's the Viridian one, and it's a sports electrolyte fix. And the electrolytes in there, so the chloride, the magnesium, the potassium, and the sodium in there are ionically charged. They're actually specific from the lakes at Utah, from Utah salt flat lakes, and that's where they're extracted, and they're ionically charged. To give you an example of this is if you put a serving size, which I think my eyesight, but 10 mil, two teaspoons of that, so a teaspoon into a litre of water, twice a day. So whilst you're training, and then just hydrating in the day as well. Put that into a litre of water, and you're drinking that through the day. From a hydration point of view, that, in that litre of water, would equate hydrationally, if that's even a word, to taking on 3 litres of water. How much is that? 50, 60 quid? 11.75. Cyclists, you're cool. Swimmers, brilliant. It's the runners that are the tight ones. 11.75. So that's, I think, 30 drops. Yeah. So that is beauty. You just put that in your water and you drink it, and you put it in your water bottle on your, or in your Camelback, whichever you're doing, and away you go. You've got that, and you're hydrating with ionically charged electrolytes. Brilliant. The other thing, I mean, the things that ionically charged electrolytes will do is they will stop muscle soreness, they will stop cramping, they will keep you hydrated, they will keep the acidic balance in the body, they will keep fluid moving, it's all about keeping the body energized, and that's what that will do. The other thing we do is IsoPlus, and this is a Black Series range from Olymp, which I think are brilliant products. And again, you've got a few other things in here. So you've got like vitamins and B vitamins, minerals, vitamin C, antioxidants and things in here. But you've also got in here L-Carnitine and glutamine. Now, when you're working out in the gym, for example, and you're lifting weights, one of the main things we use is branched chain amino acids first, and L-glutamine and essential amino acids, and we wear into them. If you're an endurance athlete, the first thing we work into in amino acid point of view is glutamine. So if you are going into health shops and you're working out and you're an endurance athlete and you're doing a lot of miles, don't pick up the branched chain amino acids, go more for the glutamine or the amino acid blends are the perfect one, where you've got the branched chains, the glutamine and your essential amino acids all together. Now these have got added glutamine. So glutamine's replenishing what you're taking. So you can take this before a run, a cycle, a swim, whatever, during or after, okay? Now the nice clever thing with this particular thing, it's slightly different to the real ones, they put in L-Carnitine. And most people associate L-Carnitine with fat burning. And the role L-Carnitine, my God, that's quite fortuitous. So a fat burner, a stimulant-free fat burner, that's amazing. So you've got your CLA, your green tea and your L-Carnitine. No stimulants, fantastic. L-Carnitine's role in there is to transport or carry the fats into the furnaces of the body. Now when you're running, what you tend to do is tap into muscle glycogen. Think of glycogen as your fuel, your petrol. So what you're doing is you're doing a run and you're drip feeding the glycogen, you're using that for energy to keep the body going. And when you run out of glycogen, you hit that wall. There's several different names for it, but when you hit that wall, you've got nothing left. Because there's no more muscle glycogen, you're extracting, you start cannibalizing muscle tissue and everything, and that's where you're all over the place. Now, by adding L-Carnitine into that mix, what it's doing is your body's taking, yes, muscle glycogen as usual, but it's also drawing on fat reserves in the body. So you're hitting your glycogen, hitting your fat, hitting your glycogen. So this will actually preserve glycogen use, if that makes sense. So that wall is not here anymore, it's now here, because your body's been efficiently using fat also as energy. So that is brilliant. So a big tool of that, we are looking at 40 servings, so 40 workouts, 40 runs, cycles, swims, whatever. Is it 96 quid, 97? Oh, it's £12.45. So to get quality, you don't have to spend a fortune, okay? Those two things are quality. I mean, if I've got gold medalists and things like that I'm working with that are sort of dipping into these things as well as other recovery things, definitely. Recovery is the other thing. A lot of endurance athletes look at whey protein or protein shakes for bodybuilders. Not at all. It's really, really important to recover and repair. So I would also look at potentially having a whey protein or a protein blend of sorts in your. So we do some great ones in here. We do the Olymp ones, we do Applied Nutrition, we do the fantastic Game Changer protein, which is pea-based, plant-based protein, which is amazing. With that one, it's good for endurance athletes because it's also enhanced with MCT oil, so again, a fat you use for energy, or you lose, you don't store, and also coconut water, which is a brilliant one for hydration. So that's the one I would go for if I was an endurance athlete. Bag of that's 20 quid, pennies. So you've got a couple of choices there. So to recap, basics, good quality, high antioxidant multivitamin. This one's particularly well because it's got your beetroot for your transportation system, blood flow, and it's got anti-inflammatory and antioxidant rich herbs in there. An awesome quality fish oil, if you can. That or the Viridian fish oil, Scandinavian rainbow trout are the best around. They're amazing. And then if you're really, really, really into it and you're worried about the dehydration side, particularly as we're coming into summer, ionically charged electrolytes or your enhanced electrolyte mix with glutamine and L-Carnitine. That is, ladies and gentlemen of the endurance world, my little take on supplements I would recommend. And if I could do endurance, I'm jealous, I wish I could, but I'm not built that way. I would recommend those products personally. Enjoy these days of training. Let's keep positive. Let's look at this as an opportunity to get out there and train once a day, and keep yourselves positive, guys. I'll speak to you all soon. Take care. Bye.